dull. I'm just looking around. This place looks so dry, pale, dark, and empty. Look at the earth. It's so beautiful. Very greenery. Yes, because they follow a lot of practices to grow more trees. What are the practices do they follow? Practices like afforestation, social forestry, agroforestation, just to improve the plantation, so the earth can be clean forever. Oh, I heard in Antamatra school today they're going to talk about afforestation, completely about forestry. Shall we go there? Shall we log in there and listen to the teacher? Yeah, we shall. Come on, let's go.
Good morning, children. The psalm says, He gives hope to the hopeless. During this pandemic situation, with lot of sorrows, sickness and poverty, He is the only hope. With this note, we'll go to the lesson. Now we're going to continue with the same lesson, the environmental issues. So what are we going to learn in environmental issues today? We're going to start with the topic forestry. I hope everybody would love to be in a forest, to visit a forest. So what are the various aspects are we going to learn about forestry today in this lesson? And what is forestry? When I say forest, what are the things coming to your mind? Maybe the animals, the thick soil, the dark green plants and broad thick woods. Yeah. So the the forestry is nothing but the science of creating, managing and conserving the forest. It's called forestry. It also says for human and environmental benefits. The forestry is a study for human and environmental benefits. It is practiced on plantations and natural stands. So mainly forest meant for planting more trees. Agroforestry. So what is agroforestry? Growing plants along with the agricultural land. It says the integration of trees, crops and livestock on the same plot of the land. The main objective of the forestry is interaction among them, being helping each other or growing each other in the same place. Like intercropping of two or more crops between different species of trees and shrubs. Here they are planning to grow two different species in the same land or same plot. It results in higher yield and reduce the operational costs. Though they use a single plot to grow two crops, so it reduces the operation cost also. It increases the biodiversity and reduces even the soil erosion. What is soil erosion? Removal of upper layer of the soil. Example, 20 species of Malay Vembu, teak, kadambu are the great importance to wood-based industries. All these plants are grown along with group of shrubs with a lesser cost. So what are the benefits of agroforestry? Why do we follow the practice of agroforestry or agricultural forestry? It is answer to soil water conservation. So we can through this method we can conserve the soil and water. It is also stabilize the soil, reduces the landslide. You can see the landslide there, reduces landslide and water runoff problems. So because of these practices, agroforestry practices, we can balance the water soil balance and even we can stabilize the soil, reduce the landslide and even we can contain the run of water after the rain. So nutrient cycle between the species are improved. We have learnt about nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, oxygen cycle. So all these cycles between the species are improved and the organic matter is maintained. The trees provide micro climate for crops and maintain oxygen and carbon dioxide. So because we grow shrubs and trees together, it says they provide microclimate, proper climate for these plants, also maintains carbon dioxide and oxygen balance in the atmosphere. It is suitable for dry land where rainfall is minimum. It says you can use practice this where the rainfall is very less, even the dry land places. Multi-purpose tree varies, like acacia used for wood pulp, tanning, paper, firewood industry. So we can grow many trees. Here the example given is acacia. If this acacia plant is grown along with the shrubs, we can use it for wood pulp, tanning, paper industry, firewood, all these purposes. Finally, it is recommended for farm forestry, mixed forestry, shelter belts, etc. Maybe shelter belts nothing but the fencing of the forest or a particular area. So they can recommend for forestry, mixed forestry and shelter belt. The rehabilitation of degraded forest. What is rehabilitation? Improving of forest which is destroyed by people or nature. So how are we going to bring back the life in the forest? Rehabilitation of degraded forest. Protection of woody plants. So grow woody plants combined with pasture, which is called silvopasture system. What is silvopasture system? Protection of woody plant along with combined with pasture where the animals can come and graze there. It is called silvopasture system. Trees and shrubs may be used to primarily to produce fodder. So they grow trees here, they grow plants here mainly for the food for these cattle, for the livestock, or may be grown for timber, fuel, wood, fruit, or to improve the soil. That's the purpose of growing plants, the trees and shrubs, mainly for the fodder of animal. So it is categorized as two systems or two methods. One is called protein bank. The various multi-purpose trees are planted in and around the farmland mainly for fodder production. First one is to get more amount of protein bank. Here they say they grow large number of multi-purpose tree in and around the area mainly for the fodder production. Example, as I told you again, acacia and Sesbania grandiflora. The second type is called, the category is called live fence of fodder trees and hedges. So here the various fodder trees, hedges are planted and live fence to protect animals and other biotic influences. So they say they grow various fodder trees mainly grown purpose of fodder. Example, Gliricidia sepium, Sesbania grandiflora. The Sesbania grandiflora is example for protein bank as well as live fence of fodder trees and hedges. These two are the example for silvopasture system. Okay, the next one we learned about agroforestry. Now we are going to learn the term social forestry. Now what is social forestry? Why the forest has to come into the society here? Here it says that it refers to the management of forest and afforestation on barren land. People are involved. Society is involved. So growing plants or trees in the barren land where there was no tree at all. Sustainable management for forest by local communities. So they have to grow forest. It has to be sustained for a long time by the local communities. Maybe the people live in and around the forest or a village side. The goal of climate, the goal is mainly of climate, carbon sequestration, change mitigation, depollution, deforestation and forest restoration. Main purpose of forestry is nothing but the climate, improving the climate. Then the carbon sequestration, absorption of large amount of carbon in the atmosphere, change in the mitigation, pollution, reduce the pollution, reduce deforestation and even the forest, restoring the forest. It provides indirect employment or opportunity for youth because we grow more plants, we involve many human beings, workers or laborers. So it provide work or a job for many youth. True cultivation in private land was implemented in the state from 2007 to 2012 by carrying out block planting. The plants were grown in blocks, and intercrop breeding, planting. Two or more crops were planting together with profitable trees like teak tree, casuarina, silver oak, etc. Tank foreshore plantation, it's a major source for firewood. So they had a plan called tank foreshore plantations. It was a major source of firewood in Tamil Nadu. 32 forestry extension centers which provide technical support and quality tree seedlings like bamboo, teak, etc. So what they did, these 32 forestry extension centers, they provide seedling to grow plants like bamboo and teak. So major action, social forestry. What are the major actions of social forestry? What was the main aim and actions of social forestry? Can you see the people are learning to plant? Yes. Training on tree growing method. They were taught to grow the trees in a proper way. Publicity regarding the growth of trees. They were publicly informing people that grow more trees. It's good for us. It keeps the environment good. So there were publicity of regarding growth of trees. Formation of demonstration plots. So they were forming a plot and demonstrating people how to grow the forest or the plantation. So raising and supply of seedlings on subsidy. So they were raising the plant, they were raising seedlings, and they were giving subsidy in a very, sometimes they will provide it in free, or sometimes they will give it in a very low cost. So awareness among students is very important, interesting thing actually. So awareness among students about the importance of forest. Remember, sometimes we get competitions like oratorical or drawing or painting on save forest. Yes. So awareness among students about importance of forest through trainings and camps. Sometimes training, sometimes camps, and even some through competitions also. The next one. So we are done with two topics, agroforestry and social forestry. Now the other topic, deforestation, destroying the forest. So who is the main cause of destroying the forest? Human being. Even the nature also play a very, very major role in deforestation. Conversion of forested area into non-forested area. One of the major contributors of enhance is greenhouse effect and global warming. The main cause of one of the main causes greenhouse gas, which is produced by us, sometimes naturally, which cause a global warming, which leads to deforestation. So what are the causes? Some of the causes of deforestation are conversion of forest into agri-plantation, livestock ranching, because cause of deforestation. So sometimes the land will be converted into agricultural land, or sometimes for livestock to survive there or graze there. Development, metal activities like road construction, electric towers, dams, you can find the road here. So these are also a reason for deforestation. Constructing a road, constructing a tower, or dams, or some other activities also leads to deforestation. So other important reason is overpopulation. The population increases, it automatically increases the urbanization, industrialization, and which increase the global need. So what are the effects of deforestation? If the forest is getting destroyed, what are the effects? Number one, burning of forest wood release the carbon, and negative impact on carbon sequestration. So as due to deforestation, if the wood is burnt, that produces large amount of carbon dioxide. It acts negatively on carbon sequestration. What is carbon sequestration? Is nothing but Absorption of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is called carbon sequestration. Because of deforestation, this carbon sequestration will be reduced. Removal of forest, which increase soil erosion and decrease the fertility, which leads to dry area, sometimes to desert. So as the removal of forest happens, it decreases the fertility of soil. Sometimes it leads to dry area. Finally, it might be a desert also. Run of water increases soil erosion. As the trees are removed, the water kept running in the forest or in the plain land or flat land, which cause soil erosion. The removal of upper layer of the soil create flash flooding, which reduce the moisture and also reduce the humidity. These are the effects of deforestation. So what are the other effects? Decrease the biodiversity. The habitat, the living place of animals are disturbed. Distraction, loss of life, because there is no place for animal to survive. Animals started dying. You can find today also there was the elephant was dead. We don't know the reason. Maybe it must have lost the place to live or survive. So because of the loss of habitat also, animals might lead to death or endanger. Increasing global warming, loss of life support resource, and even the loss of fuel. Even sometimes we also lose the edible fruit also will be lost because of the effect of deforestation. To avoid it, what should we do? We have to follow one more practice called afforestation. What is afforestation? Planting trees where there was no previous trees coverage, and the conversion of non-forested land into forested area by planting suitable trees to retrieve vegetation. So it's nothing but planting trees where there was no tree at all to just retrieve the vegetation. Example, slopes of dams afforested to reduce the run of water, erosion and siltation. The slopes of dam, if the slopes of dam are allowed to grow a lot of plants, it reduces run of water, soil erosion, even the siltation. Removal of minerals also will be avoided by afforestation. Provide arrangements of environment services, including carbon sequestration, water retention. All these are done by the afforestation. And when you grow more plants where there was no plant at all. Objectives of afforestation. What is the main aim or objective of afforestation? First, bamboo plantation. First, the main aim was bamboo plantation. They want to grow more of bamboo. Forest cover, planting more trees, increasing oxygen production and air quality. These are one of the objectives. So main thing, they want to cover the forest. Then they want to plant more trees. Then they would love to increase the oxygen in the atmosphere and also improve the quality of air in the atmosphere. Rehabilitation of degraded forest to the carbon fixation and reduce the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That's one of the important aim or objective. Mixed plantation of minor forests and medicinal plants are also encouraged in the afforestation. Regeneration of indigenous herbs, regaining or regrowth of local herbs and shrubs are also aimed at afforestation. Increase availability of water table or groundwater. As you kept practicing afforestation, it also increases the groundwater level. So what are the achievements? So far, what have they achieved by doing the afforestation? So the first achievement, degraded forests were restored. Forests which were destroying were restored. Community assets like overhead tanks. Because of afforestation, they constructed more things like overhead tanks, bowels, hand pumps, libraries. All these were established under the achievement of afforestation. Environmental and ecological stability was maintained. So environmental and ecological stability, the balance was maintained by the afforestation. Conserved biodiversity, wildlife and genetic resource. Because of afforestation, the biodiversity is conserved, the wildlife is conserved, even the genetic resources of animals and plants are also conserved by afforestation. Involvement of community, especially women in the forest management. So we involve the people in around the forest, especially the women in the forest management. Later we are going to learn the next topic, alien invasive species. We learned about this alien invasive species in the previous topic. We are going to learn one more about plants, the alien plants which are invaded and which are dominant to the local plants. Now these beautiful flowers are the invasive plants. The species introduced to distress ecosystem process threaten biodiversity, which reduce the native herbs, reduce the ecosystem benefits. So these are the main purpose of this alien invasive species. So what do? They threaten biodiversity, they reduce native herbs, and even they reduce the ecosystem benefits also. It's the main purpose of alien invasive species. During eradication of these species, when we started removing these species, the chemicals used increases the greenhouse gas. Just to remove, we use a weedicide. Okay, as we use a lot of weedicide, the chemicals, these chemicals will be affect the environment, also increases the greenhouse gases. Slowly alter the ecosystem. Now these plants slowly alter the ecosystem. And microclimate, it also alter the nature of the soil, human health issues like allergy. Because of these species, these plants, it changes the ecosystem, changes the climate, the nature of the soil, the human health issue, especially it causes allergy to human. It results in local environmental degradation and loss of important local species. According to World Conservation Union, invasive alien species are the second most threat of biodiversity. Maybe the pollution is the first threat. What is invasive species actually? Okay, can you see the beautiful plants here? These are the invasive species. The non-native species to the ecosystem or a country which does not belong to us. Okay, that spreads naturally, interferes with the biology of the existed. It spreads naturally in that place. It disturbs the neighboring plants, biology of existence. Natural species possess a serious threat to ecosystem. Now these species are a danger to the ecosystem and can cause economic loss. That means it does not allow the neighboring plants around them to grow. Number of invasive species are accidentally introduced via air and sea. It is not purposely done. Through the air, through the birds or through water, it can be introduced. Some research organizations import germplasm of wild varieties through it gets introduced. Some research organization also import some germplasm of wild varieties which can be act as an invasive species. Alien fruits with edible fruits spread by birds. As I told you, in the air, mainly because the birds, they eat the edible part of the fruit and they will spread the maybe dispersal of seeds can occur. Fast growing and more adapted. So these invasive species grow very, very fast and they can adapt any climate, any environment wherever they go. They grow. They alter soil system. They maybe change the soil system also. Maybe they can make fertile into infertile soil, sterile soil. It can change the quality and the community also. Let us see two examples of this invasive species. The first one is Acornia. It's a weed native to South America. It's an aquatic ornamental plant. This Acornia, widespread growth decreases the oxygen content. As it grows wider over the water level, the oxygen content in the below the level was decreased, which leads to eutrophication. You know what is eutrophication? Death of plants and animals because of absence of oxygen. the next plant. What is the next plant here? Prosopis juliflora. Beautiful name, isn't it? Prosopis juliflora. Now what is it? This plant says it's an invasive species native to Mexico and South America. It's an aggressive colonizer. It grows very, very fast and it grow in colony. It reduces the cover of native medicinal herbs and it arrests wind erosion and it stabilizes sand dunes. In this lesson, so far we discussed about social forestry, agroforestry, deforestation, afforestation, and even the alien invasive species. Hope you've understood the lesson. Children, God has given us a beautiful place to live. He asks us to use and enjoy the maximum of it, but not to destroy the beauty of it. So I hope all of us will make the earth, keep the earth clean and stay happy. That's all from today's class. Goodbye.